Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels.
And Lori!
In this video, we're going to talk about a new movement, Lori. It's called F.I.R.E.
Wow, what is a FIRE?
F.I.R.E. is a movement that's going on with the younger generation. They are looking at priorities in life, and they're seeing that they don't want to accumulate material things like Mercedes-Benzes and iPhones and all this fancy stuff.
Wow.
They want to put that money away for early retirement, so they are able to retire early and then choose maybe occupations that they would like to do rather than, let's say, working in a bank or working as a computer programmer. Maybe they want to write a book or something like that. So that's what this video is about. And we've brought in Andrew, who's lived the FIRE movement. And in fact, he lived it before it was even called FIRE. So
wow, that's exciting.
yeah. Okay. So I hope you enjoy this video. Now remember, this is not for, somebody that our age that is retired and yet is living off their Social Security. It's more for the younger people. So let us know what you think. Well, if you hear some booms going off in the background, what is it, Lori?
It's a rocket.
Rockets. We're in Mexico and they are having celebrations this time of year, and so you'll hear these bangs and rockets going off, so don't freak out. That's all it is. Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels, and today we're going to introduce you to a whole new concept that I'm just learning about, and it's called FIRE. And so this is Andrew. Andrew, give our audience a little information about yourself and your involvement in FIRE.
I'm a financial author. I wrote a book called Millionaire Teacher.
Here it is here, Millionaire Teacher.
I wrote 2 editions of that book, one in 2011 and then the second in 2017. And then in 2018, I wrote a book called Millionaire Expat for people that live abroad.
And so Millionaire Expat is going to help out people like us here that have moved out of the country. And so you are are you a financial planner?
I'm a financial journalist, not a financial planner.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about FIRE. Now,
the FIRE movement is extremely popular, or it's an extremely popular movement among millennials currently.
Millennials, what does that mean?
Right, so if we're looking at people in their 20s right up to their mid-30s, and what has happened is the establishment, at least in terms of what we think of as normal, in terms of our consumption, a consumption-based lifestyle has become the norm, definitely in North America. And so we end up buying a lot of stuff. We chase stuff. We feel that for whatever reason that things will fulfill us in life.
You mean like my brand new iPhone?
It could be your brand new iPhone. It could be a brand new car, so you're leasing it or you borrowed money to buy it. Perhaps you can't really afford it, so you are making payments on it.
Okay.
And so the people that are part of the FIRE movement have really turned their backs on this and said, we are recognizing that time is our greatest asset. Our greatest asset aren't the material things that most people like to acquire, and they're very extreme. People that live this FIRE. So FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And I think one really important distinction is that it doesn't necessarily mean these people are retiring early. They may continue to work, but what they seek is financial independence from as young an age as possible. So that they get to a point where they might still be working in their 40s or 50s, but they're doing so because they're choosing to work, not because they have to work.
There's a saying that live today like nobody else, cut back. So tomorrow you can live like nobody else. You can, choose your own work, your own job. If you want to travel, whatever it is, you have more choices.
Right.
How much money would they have to reach, that FIRE stage of financial independence?
Well, a pot of money, if it's invested properly, like diversified in a low-cost portfolio of index funds, for example, should last in perpetuity if we are making a 4% inflation-adjusted withdrawal. So to give you an example, $100,000, let's assume that's the portfolio size. If somebody is withdrawing 4% of that, let's say it's their early retirement, they would take out $4,000 because 4,000 is 4% of 100,000.
So people then, the younger people, are apparently living on a lot less.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but it's an extreme level, often an extreme level of frugality. And just a couple of weeks ago, I met a woman who retired at 35.
Oh, 35.
And her husband was 38. There's another couple that I know, Billy and Acacia Catter. They retired when they were 38 years old as well. But it involves often a level of extreme frugality, and many people will say, because of course it's something that I did as well.
Okay.
So early on, I guess I was part of the FIRE movement before it had a name.
Yeah.
Many people will say, well, you know, if you do that, and again, it's not for everybody, but if you're doing that, aren't you giving up levels of enjoyment? And today I can afford a much more luxurious lifestyle. Part of this comes from the idea that happiness doesn't come from material acquisitions. So we've seen study after study after study that shows that the material acquisitions, a bigger house, a bigger car, the brand new iPhone, these are like sugar fixes. They make you feel great the moment you get them, but as soon as you get that new iPhone, it takes only a couple of weeks before that phone is just a phone. Again, it's not that big excitement or that giant fulfiller of life that many people will think it is. And so the people that are part of the FIRE movement have recognized this, and they've said, hey, hang on a second. Time is my greatest asset, and studies show that experiences, now money spent on experiences, now that's where added levels of contentment come through. So people that are part of the FIRE movement are saying, I'm going to stockpile some assets here so that I can enjoy experiences, time with people I love, doing some interesting things in life rather than chasing the materialistic dream.
Well, one of the things that Andrew hasn't touched on here, but he made these choices and cutting back and living frugally, and at a very young age he was a millionaire, and in fact he was the millionaire teacher. And so this is where the books come from practical experiences like that. And today they live a great life. Him and his wife, just got back from Central America, traveling in a motorhome there and stuff like that. You travel all over around the world.
Right.
One of the techniques I have heard is that you live on every other paycheck. You get used to that. Another couple that we interviewed, they knew they needed $28,000 a year to live on, and so what they did is they were making much more than that, but for about the first 5 years before they retired, they disciplined themselves only to live on the $28,000 a year.
Yeah.
And so when they moved into retirement, that's what they live on. In fact, they make more money in their investments because they do invest, and actually they give that money away, the extra money.
We come back to happiness studies.
Yeah.
And we talk about experiences trumping material things. Giving money away is a happiness booster, bigger than actually spending it yourself on things, material things for you. A couple has to have the same goals.
Same.
Because if you have a spendthrift and then you have someone who's frugal, not only is it going to not work, money is a leading cause of divorce.
Yeah.
Or people that don't actually think on the same line.
Right,
So for the young people listening to this, pick your spouse very carefully.
Any advice that you would give to the young people that are contemplating, they want to retire, they just want to retire, and they want to do it now? Can you give them some advice on, because you've done it, on what they could plan? Or
yeah, to start would be tracking every penny that you spend. And when we do that, we end up spending less. I like to think that, and I've seen it, where when you document what you spend, we end up spending less as a result of that because we become accountable.
Andrew, thank you for this interview. I hope that we've sparked some interest in the younger people. Now remember, this is not for the people that are retired or anything like that. Let's get clear on that.
Might be for your grandchildren, though.
Your grandchildren. Andrew, thanks very much.
Thank you,
You're
Jerry.
the greatest. Oh, one more thing. About the book, we're going to make a post down below for both books where you can purchase those through Amazon.com, and you can check it out. And have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. other videos in this series may interest you. Check them out also. And if you'd like to subscribe, and we would appreciate that, just touch on my face and you will automatically be subscribed. It's free and no obligation.